This meeting is being recorded.
Next one is variables, variables in DAX. Now let us go ahead and take a look at what is a variable and how to use them in DAX. So the learning how to use variable is extremely crucial because adding more variables to your code makes it a lot easier to understand the coding logic. Okay. And in the case of especially if you want to debug it, if you in case of any error, if you want to debug it, it'll be pretty helpful to quickly debug in which line of code it caused the error. You can easily debug it. Okay, if you use variables in your DAX queries. First of all, what is a variable? First of all, what is a variable? Variables are used with almost all the programming language, isn't it? You take any programming language, variables are used. So we use why we need to use the variables? To store the result of an expression with a name. If you store the result of an expression, with a name, which means the variable name, you can use it later as an argument for other operations in your measures or inside your measures. Okay, I will show you, how to create in the measure, how to use the variable, everything little while. Now we will see the syntax for this. Okay, here is the syntax for defining the variable in DAX. You need to use the reserved word where it is, you can use the capital letter. It's a keyword. It is always a best practice. Use the capital letter or uppercase for the keyword where. Okay, if you want to define any variable, it should be preceded with var keyword, and followed by this you need to specify the variable name, and followed by the variable name equal sign. On the right side you can specify the expression, and then return the expression, which is nothing but the name here. What is the name? Name is the name of the variable, and the variable names must begin. This is the rule you need to follow it. Thumb rule. The variable, you cannot give all the name while defining the variable names. It should be begin with the letters A to Z or AZ, and the only other supported characters 0 to 9. Okay, so you can have your variables can be a mix of the letters, English letters, and the numeric values. Okay, but the variable name should not start with the numeric values, I guess. Okay, that it will throw an error. And make sure that you are following this standard while defining the name for the variable. For example, I wanted to create a variable by the name of profit 2014. So profit underscore 2014. So your variable can contain the letters as well as the numeric values. Okay, you are not supposed to use the numeric values to start the starting name of the variable should not be a numeric value, I guess. Okay, and also you cannot use the numeric 1 2 3 as a variable name. Okay, should be a mix of letter and number, but your variable name should not be start with the number. Okay, and existing table names and certain keywords are not permitted as variable names. These are the things you need to keep in mind while defining the variable. This is the syntax. The DAX calculations that use a var statement, remember this, it must also use a return statement. These two statements are must. Okay, and if you have used the var function, make sure that you are using a return. If you don't use return, and you will not return the value whatever you stored it here. So why should I use variables? Readability of the code. Okay, why readability of the code? Readability of the code. What do you mean by readability? By assigning a name to an expression, you can use that variable name easily in the later point of your in the subsequent code. You can use that variable name instead of using the expression. If you use the expression itself in your formula, it will be confusing. Okay, for that purpose, we can define the variable. The classic example for this one is I just show you something like this. For example, we have something like readability. Okay, I'm just talking about the readability. supposing you have something called variable called adjusted budget. There's something budget and the actual budget and actual. And here you are using the var and the variable name as A. Okay. So you need to, this is your variable name. It should be prefixed with the keyword var. And followed by this, you are using some logic here. In this case, you are using something called sum x. Sum x is an aggregation function. And the first argument is your table name. For example, your table name is sales. And then you are doing something like the sales minus product cost, something like that. Product cost. That is your budget. Okay. And you are okay. And then other ways. So I'm not using the exact syntax here. Don't look for the syntax here. Understand the idea, but okay. And why variables? So I'm creating another variable. In this case, I'm using this is something like the budget versus the actual or something like that. Okay, this is the actual something like that. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sum x here. And again, the table. This table is same table name, the sales table, because the sum x first argument is supposed to be sales. Okay, and then next what I do is the unit price into the extended amount or something like that. Extended amount. This gives you something like actual value. You want to compare these two things. See, if you on the right side of the equal sign, if you see, this is what your expression. Okay, this expression is little bit lengthy. But if you assign this expression, so this expression should be always on the right side of your equal sign. And if you want to refer this expression, you give some name here. For this expression, you give some name here. Later point in time, you have something a return statement. The return statement, basically what you want to do is, if A is greater than B, then you put A, else you put B. This is the condition you wanted. If you don't use the variables A, A and B, what will happen? You need to write the entire expression here. You need to write the entire expression here. And then if this expression, is true, or if this expression, whatever the value returned by this one is greater than this one, and you return this expression, and or else you need to, if you type the entire thing here, it is a mess. It is not readability, right? So that is the reason why we use the variable. If you use the variable, what will happen? Your job is pretty simple. You can refer this expression by its name. So this expression, we have named it as A. This expression, we named it B. And if you want to compare these two expressions, if A is greater than B, and put A, else put B. Wherever the A is greater than B in the records, you put A, else B. So this one is pretty simple to understand. Rather, if you put the entire formula here and greater than, again the bigger formula, it is literally confusing. So in this kind of situation, defining the variables are very much helpful, and also it reduces the size of your code. You just think, you have the expression. If you put, the sum of x, again you need to put sum of x, again you need to put sum of x. Okay, so in that case, what happened? Redundantly, you are using this one. Instead, if you use the variable, it reduces your size of the code, and again, easier to debug. So whether the error comes from this line or this line, pretty easier to debug in which line the error is coming up. Okay, and the performance is better since the size of your code is lesser. That itself will boost your performance. Now I just head back to the Power BI desktop, and I'll show you how to create a variable here. We can use some measure here, and what I will do is I will use the chord visual, or you can use the table visual also. So here I just click on the modeling ribbon, and here I am going to click on the new measure. And here I just say var. I want to define a variable here, var. And what I will do is I'll just move this up. So you need to specify the variable name. Let's say my variable name is A is equal to 2. Then I'm going to hold the Alt key and press enter. And for the sake of readability, I just return A into 2. I just press enter here. So here, the measure name is A. On the right side of the equal sign, I just defined a variable here. Look here, I just drop this A here. Four. First one supposed to be your measure, okay, your measure name, because you have clicked on measure, right? And in this measure, we have used a variable by the name of A. On the right side of the A, I have used 2 here. And then, as I said, the var should combine with the return statement. Okay, and if you don't use return, let's say what happens. And if I click on this one, the syntax error for is incorrect. DAX var a equal to 2. It should combine with the return statement where wherever using define a variable, right? The var should accompany it with the return thing here. And here what I did, I have used the expression while returning this variable. Or instead, what I can do is I can use 2 into 2 here, but I did not do that here. So here, take this variable A and then multiply that by 2 here. And there must be a return statement and I'm going to press enter. Fine. So next we will use other thing here. Another measure. Sorry, not the modeling, and click on the new measure. So we can create multiple variables also with the same layer of scope. I just say variable example 2 is equal to, I'm going to hold the Alt key and press enter. I just, so that it will take me to the next line. I just use the tab key and I just kept the cursor just below the equal sign. Okay. I'm going to create a variable by the name of A equal to 2, and I'm going to create another variable. Let's say B is equivalent to A into 2. Okay, and what I do is I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to return, and so here B into B plus 10, something like that. So what is going to happen? So A is equal to 2, and in the second line, I've used another variable. In this variable, right. So what I do is I take the product of A by 2. Don't get confused with this one. So this 2 is different. Okay. Take this variable A. Already this variable A is holding 2. 2 into 2 is 4. And next one is, okay, instead of 2, I just put 3 here. Okay. A into 3. Take this variable A. A is already holding the value 2. 2 into 3 is how much? 6. And now the B will be holding 6. 6 plus 10 is 16. I'm going to press enter. Let us see what happens here. In this case, I have used multiple variables, more than one variable. But I'm using a single return statement. And in this case, I just select this visual. $16, it is correct, right? If you see here, 2 into 3, 6, 6 plus 10 is 16. It is returning correctly. In this case, we have used a single return statement, though I've used more than one variable. So other thing what you need to remember is variables can be assigned only once and it cannot be reassigned. Okay, for that, I will show you another example. Can I do it this way? So here return A, and if I press enter, it is variables, a variable A cannot be created because a table or variable with the same name already exists. Okay, but in the other programming languages, it is possible. But when it comes to DAX, you cannot assign the same, value of your variable. So same variable, you cannot assign it to the same thing. Okay, A cannot be assigned to itself. Okay, so this is the one you need to remember it. Using variables in calculated column, how we can use the variable in calculated column. And for example, I have something like, let me see if I have any other column, any table where I can use it. Yeah, customer name and customer type. Let me just go here. Supposing you want to combine these two values, okay. So what I will be to look at, this is what I did it already here. And in this case, okay, I did it directly here. Instead of using this, we can use the variable here. So what I am going to do is here, I'm going to click on the new column. So so now I'm demonstrating how to use a variable in a calculated column. Calculated column where you can create the data view. Supposing you have first name, last name available. In this case, last name is available. For the demonstration purpose, I'm going to combine the customer name and customer type. Here, what I do is I just use the var keyword here, var, and here the customer name. Okay, here what I do is the C name, customer name is equivalent to the customer name here, dim customer. And then in the next line, I'm going to use C type or something like that. Here, customer type is equivalent to the customer type. I pressed enter. Ideally, I want to hold the Alt key and then press enter. I want to come to the next line. Mistakenly, I hit the enter. The next one is the return statement. Return. And here, what I do is I just say return here. And in this case, I'm going to say the C name ampersand this one, okay, ampersand. So ampersand is to combine the two columns in the case of string data type, okay. Here combine the customer name and customer type so that John, high, Chris, medium, it will show like this, okay. Customer name with the type. With this simple example, you understood how you can use the variable in a calculated column. See, in this case, it is ideally not required. Okay, you can directly, so you, in case of any complex logic, you can use the variable, and then in the return you can specify the result. Okay, the variable which hold the result, you can specify in the return. Even the return itself, you can perform some kind of you can specify the expression. Okay, what is the expression in this case? Ampersand, ampersand, the customer name, ampersand. So here the ampersand followed by, if you don't leave space here, what will happen? Look here, John space high, Chris space medium. If you want space here in this double quote, you need to leave space here. Make sure that most of the students, they don't do it, and they will say something wrong. It is not leaving space. You need to leave space. If you want to combine the column, you need to use the ampersand. Okay. This is how you can use this one. This is one simple example. And okay, the next one is measures, how we can use it, and then variables can contain tables too. How do I use the this one, the variables in measures, how I can use it, how I can use it in the table also. That is also we can see it. Okay, and in the DAX, we will see how we can do it. Okay. Calculated columns, we have seen it, and the measures, as we move further, we'll show you how we can use it in the measure. Okay, don't worry. Because I'm yet to cover the sum x everything. At that time, if I show you the demo or how to use variables in calculator measures and the calculate column, that will make your understanding simple.